What are you most excited about for your company and the industry in general?
Oh, that's an awesome question. Look, like I mentioned, I'm a TradFi guy. I was literally a gold CEO, and my view was, look, gold is going to the moon. I have a master's in economics, started my PhD in economics. What the U.S. is doing in terms of fiat and money printing and basically the destruction of the value of the U.S. dollar is just bonkers to me. But it is what it is. It's not going to change. And so now you have this sector, and this is where I'm getting directly to your question. This is maybe the most exciting investment opportunity our generation, your generation, many generations will see. It's the chance to go back to 1994 and buy 10, 20, 100 grand of Amazon at pennies to where it's trading at now. So the most exciting thing for me is just going from this sort of staid, relatively boring sector called gold into an industry where I get to talk to the likes of you guys. It's an honor being on this podcast and having the background I have, and yet getting to see people who have just so much interest in making things better and sort of disintermediating this global banking system that has just made gazillions, and so to be a part of changing the entire financial ecosystem is beyond exciting. So it's just every day picking up the phone, talking to people like you, talking to investors, looking at new protocols, looking at what Aave is doing in the lending world, looking at what's happening in the metaverse. We're about to launch a metaverse and gaming basket. And I would have thought a year ago that our Bitcoin and Ethereum baskets, ETPs, would have been like the growth market for the company. But I have a feeling that the metaverse gaming basket is going to be our top performing ETP. So this is changing every day. You guys must see like people like me, geniuses who created some of these protocols who are now billionaires. It's changing. It's so exciting. It's so interesting being able to do this on a listed market as well. So it's just basically putting all of it together and just being involved in such a transformative industry.
Russell, you guys are in the process of launching a number of these ETPs. One, talk about what your ideas there are, but also two, explain why the public market structure for those types of properties are so advantageous in your opinion, and who are the types of investors that you anticipate buying that stuff versus maybe participating in the private market, aspect of this industry.
Yeah. So, as I was remarking before, clearly Bitcoin adoption is going up. Clearly, Ethereum adoption is going up. Clearly, the TVL in all of these DeFi protocols is going up. But even with that in context, literally the majority of the world can't or isn't comfortable with opening up these unusual trading accounts that you have to do for a Coinbase or Kraken or whatever. So the real value proposition for us is like bringing a protocol like Solana or Polkadot, or Anthony, to answer your question, we're going to be launching top 10 DeFi yield. We're just finalizing basically baskets, which is going to be something new. So it's almost like a diversified ETF that people can actually invest in and get exposure to, gaming and metaverse all in one, and then top 10 DeFi all in one, top 10 DeFi yield all in one. And so it's taking, Solana that I think everybody should have in their portfolio, taking Ethereum that everyone should have in their portfolio, and just simplifying it for the investor so that they can actually buy it on a listed regulated exchange through, the US example would be through your Charles Schwab or your TD Ameritrade account, just that in Europe. So you're actually opening the doors even more for these nascent protocols to be adopted and understood by the general investing public, which is the biggest market in the world.
And then in terms of conversations that you have with a lot of these institutional type investors or people who are interested in public market companies, what's been the general tone and how has that changed over the last year or so as you've been having those conversations?
It's literally been incredible because even institutions I grew up as an insti sales guy, right? Institutional trading, ultimately corporate finance, then created my own broker dealer actually in Canada that's become a really big player in the Canadian capital markets. This is so innovative, so transformative, so crazy, because the institutions, when they first create their fund prospectuses or their offering memorandums, they basically state where they can invest, and none of them 10 years ago thought that Coinbase was even going to exist, other than a few really very risk-taking and opportunistic and smart people who created it. And so now what you're seeing is institutions saying, how do I get long Bitcoin without being able to open an account on Coinbase or on Kraken? How do I get long Ethereum? How do I get long Solana? And so, you're seeing hedge funds that pop up that invest on all these alternative trading exchanges, but then you also have, the biggest part of that investing community that can't. And so having them being able to see and invest into a Solana, or even just DeFi, the parent company. Like, we had an institution offshore that basically called us one day and just was like, we're going to buy 2.5 million shares, because they actually see this as a way of getting long without having to effectively go to all their shareholders or go to all of their creators of their funds or their hedge fund committees to actually rewrite their offering memorandum or their prospectus to allow them to start investing on these alternative exchanges. They can now do it through us. And I think, honestly, that's going to be a real dominant theme. You saw Invesco, I think it was you guys who actually tweeted it. Invesco is starting to launch DeFi protocol, ETPs, ETFs. The market's going to get crowded, so to speak. But if you're looking at a market that's growing 2 times faster than the internet, I don't care how many people get involved, today, tomorrow, it's not going to be able to keep up with the demand that you're going to see from the traditional equity investor basically jumping on board to all these protocols.